20 minutes since the time that I wanted to start. And I'm going to let that go. Um, Greetings. Good morning. Today is Wednesday, March 25, and it has felt like March is one of the longest months of the year so far, right? I'm Belinda of Just Be Yoga, in case you don't know who I am. And you are not at the Just Be Yoga studio, you are in Chez Moi. So you're going to occasionally see some critters walking about. You might see a familiar critter, Karma. She is sleeping over here. Really eager to get going outside a little bit later. So welcome to our first home yoga practice live. We are all, most of us, at home if we're not out still doing the grind of working or working at home. So I thought, let's just continue our practice and really start to break down how we do our practice at home. All right, so I'm also testing out some things. So please do send me a note. You can text me, you can message me. I've got my phone with me because this is my first time doing a straight live stream through my laptop using my HD camera. So I'm not really seeing comments, and so I'm not really feeling out how this works. All right, so let's start. First, we think about, do I need this perfect space? Do I need to build a yoga studio in my house so I can get my Zen? First, please understand that Zen and yoga, two different cultures, two different things, okay? All right, I'm seeing people. Yay, I've got Stacy, I've got Randy. Awesome. So I was testing out to see, okay, how does this work on my computer? So we're breaking down that yoga practice. A lot of barriers, right? We say we need to build some expensive thing in addition to my house so it can be something awesome. And you know what? If we had to go to some resort or have all of this money in order to create that peace, we would never get to our practice. Morning, Mandy. So start to ask yourself, do I want to feel my practice? Or am I wanting some external spa-like retreat feeling? And I'm not saying that it doesn't feel good to be surrounded by lavender and, have that massage studio experience. But that isn't our yoga. Our yoga is connecting within. So sit back, ask yourself, why am I making up all of these barriers to me actually sitting down? And you could do that right now, whether you had a mat or not, right? Remember, this is a practice that started in India. Sit your butt down. So when you start saying, I don't have time, I don't have a space, it's not going to be quiet enough, just start to look at what are the obstacles that I have just put in my way and sit your butt down. All right. So why don't we start this morning with a deep breath and set our asses down. Even if you're still at work, you can take a breath. Yes, you can. You can take a minute and take a breath. Don't tell me you can't. All right, so let's take a nice deep breath in. And let it go. All right, so as you can see, I have actually rolled out a mat. I've rolled out a couple because I didn't know how much I would be moving around here today. This one is a travel mat. It's super thin but really grippy. You might want to have a block of some sort. A great big book will do. Back in the day, we used to have telephone books, and those really subbed well as a block. The other thing is maybe a hammock or a hassock of some sort or an ottoman are really good for support as well. I've got a strap around here, maybe a belt or a tie. Never know if you need to use it. Not against anyone in your household. Hopefully divined within. And I think that's really all that I brought out so far. And I'm going to take a sip of, this is kombucha. And you guys might really like my mug. I don't know if you can see it. This is my mug. Yeah, namaste right here. Okay. So let's talk about where to begin. Okay. And today we're going to keep things really simple. But let's start with, what does yoga mean? Yoga means to bind together or to create a connection. So oftentimes if we're feeling a craving for our yoga practice, it might mean that we are disconnected in some way, right? Our body hasn't moved in a certain way, or our body is trapping something, our breath is inhibited, our mind has been only on one thing, and it hasn't been able to bring any ease. So sit for a moment, and that's why that moment of just kind of sitting, finding some stillness, and inquire of yourselves. What's out of balance? What's out of whack? Am I drained of energy, or am I supercharged? Right? That was Puma. So I feel as though I've really been needing a little bit more movement. I've been doing a lot of walking, a little bit of yoga, nothing really aggressive. So I know that my body really wants to move. I don't have my pool, the swimming pool at the Y. So use that first off when you're sitting, when you're grounding, and do that inquiry of yourself. Where am I out of balance? What do I need? And then let's try to remember, and occasionally I'm going to bring out maybe even a whiteboard to show us that yoga is 8 things, okay? Yoga isn't all of this, guys. That isn't the yoga, all right? Yoga is 8 things. How I treat myself, how I treat others, how I'm living in this body. That means the food I'm putting in it, the thoughts I'm putting in it, how much I'm moving it, asana, yoga postures, breath exercises, pratyahara. We don't get to talk about that very much. Sense withdrawal. And we have actually been overstimulating our senses, diving into the digisphere lately. So pratyahara might really be something as a part of your yoga that you want to start to develop and say, what do I need more of? What do I need less of? Okay? And then we're getting into the deeper stuff. Okay? Dharana, dhyana, samadhi. Okay? If Vicky is going to be looking at this now or later, she would say, bless you. Every time I say a Sanskrit word, she says, bless you. So, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. Dharana is focus. Dhyana is meditation. And samadhi is that ultimate unification, or that awareness, that awakening. I don't like to think of enlightenment as, the clouds part and we all ascend. I think that we all get glimmers of enlightening and awakening at any moment, and it's up to us to hang on to it. All right, so when you're doing your check-in, to find out where we're out of balance, in our body, in our breath, in our mind, in our actions, in our senses, in our focus. Where has it been excessive, and where has it not had enough time and attention? Meditation, quiet reflection and contemplation. And then bringing it all together. Okay, so I've already said that I know what I need. It's always going to be up to you for you to start to practice and figure out what you need. But we're going to start to move a little bit. But remember, we're going to start to do this on a day-to-day basis and take from it what you need. I'm going to come and start to find a way of coming onto my mat. And I'm just going to come to hands and knees, all right? So we've sat for a moment, we've done some reflection, we've done some breath. And now I'm going to feel out my body. I'm going to feel my bones and feel my flesh. Maybe my wrists are tired. Maybe I have an injury. I know some of us have some knee injuries, hip injuries. You might want to put a blanket, something softer here under your knees. Maybe you don't want to be on your knees at all. You could very well be sitting in a chair right now and waiting until we come to standing. Okay, so everything that we're doing on hands and knees, you could do sitting. Let's find a few cat and cows. Now the cat and cow really activates our awareness of our spine. And some of us might say, well, I don't really feel like I'm doing much. Other people really think that there's a ton of yum in this. But it's a way to start to move our entire spinal column. Think about it. Your spinal column houses the main pipeline for your central nervous system. Okay, so this is our main superhighway. So let's move it around. find out what's gunked up, where the traffic jam is, right? In that super highway. And let it talk to you. So for me, I've got a traffic jam in between my shoulder blades. I can feel a lot of tension. I'm actually feeling a little tension in the front of my pelvis, in the lower part of my superhighway, because the front of us and the back of us aligning the spine. So I might want to give that a little bit more attention today. All right. Let's reach one leg back and place the toes up the legs. Just start to think of this as a wake-up call where we're just checking in on the body, how it's feeling. I'm going to crawl a little further forward so you guys can see. Just pushing. Can definitely feel that in the back of the calf. Now I'm going to lift this up and just feel myself holding my leg myself. What has this leg been holding? Have I just been sitting on my butt? Have I been walking a lot? I'm going to bend this knee. And then I'm just going to work, that was my hip. I'm just going to work my spine and a little core now. Feeling things working together. And then I'm going to feel my breath coming together. Remember, we said asana, body movement, and breath. Am I making room for this breath? Am I making room for a cat? And then I'm going to switch it out. And I'm going to reach that back. Feel this side. Also start to really check in on side to side how the body is feeling. Now in this pushback, anatomically, right, we're getting a little contraction in the top of that thigh. Feeling the calf, the hip. Maybe twist the hips a little. This is your body. Feel it out. Talk to it. And then we'll lift it up. There's no right and wrong in you getting your relationship with your body. Yoking, connecting, that's your yoga. Breathe in. And then exhale, let's pull it in. Breathe in and reach. Maybe do a little cat-cow. Exhale, find that core, find that heat. Inhale. Maybe you're like, okay, 2 is enough. That's all the heat I got. Exhale. Maybe you want to feel it out a little bit more. Inhale and exhale. All right, I'm going to take a break here. And I'm going to give you guys a word. And if Vicky's on here, bless you. I know. But it's called ahimsa. All right? So ahimsa is in one of the first limbs of yoga, and it means non-harming or non-violence. So you want to treat yourself in action, word, and intention, non-harming, in a non-harming way, in a non-violent way. And then you want to treat others in a non-harming way, action-wise, word-wise, and intention-wise. So as we move, let's embrace, at least today, ahimsa. Everything that we do, we're going to do with kindness and with love, treating ourselves with kindness and love. All right, so that's our home practice today. We're going to work on being nice to ourselves. What the hell is that, right? All right, so now we're going to bring this all together. And let's find a flow. So we're going to start in child's pose. And we'll sink our hips back. Maybe rest your head in your hands if you prefer that. It's going to depend on how your back feels. Feel the breath. How deep down in the low back and the belly can you feel that breath? Occupy your breath. Now we're going to come forward. Do a few cat and cows. Breathe in. Breathe out. Unifying your intention. Breathe in with your breath and your movements. Breathe out. Breathe in. When you notice a thought coming, turn it away. Just come back to being on your mat. Breathe out. You are worth this. Breathe in. It can wait. Whatever it is. And breathe out. Reach one leg back. Place the toes down. Stretch, pushing back. Breathe in. Breathe out. Pull it in. Inhale, lift. Exhale, pull it in. Inhale. Exhale. Now, this isn't a script, okay? I'm just moving right now, everybody. Actually, that's all I ever do with you all. I don't have a script. I'm feeling it out. So if you're done with this, be done with this. We'll switch it out. Reach. Feel that calf. Feel your toes. Wake up your toes. Maybe see, can I feel my third toe? What's it doing? All right, let's breathe in. And then exhale, feel that center core, the energy you have to pull within. Breathe in. Exhale, remember non-harming. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. What makes us want to quit? Exhale. Are we quitting on exercise or ourselves? Inhale and exhale. Bring that down. One more child's pose, a little bit of rest. And now let's invite Dharana and Dhyana. Do you remember that from the beginning? Focus and meditation. Bring that gaze within. What did that movement, what did that breath reveal to us about how we're feeling? Start to let thinking go. Good, and then let's bring ourselves up. I'm going to move us to standing, okay? And that means I'm going to have to do an adjustment, I think, of the camera. Yes, because I'm beheaded, right? All right. Let's work on finding our feet and feel our connection with the earth, okay? Feel your feet holding you. Maybe rocking forward and back on those toes. Good. And then stand. Stand. We're not standing to defy anything. We're not standing to hold or provide anything other than support for ourselves. And let's shift weight into one leg and just feel that other leg lifting. That's all. Maybe work the hip a little. Now feel this standing leg holding you, and you're probably going to notice the foot's doing some wobbles, the ankle's doing some wobbles. I've got a cat on a foot here. You can see a tail, so I could actually kind of rest on her. Notice if I'm getting aggravated by that interruption of a pet, can I just find some loving kindness? Can I still stand tall? What did I lose awareness of in my body? My spine, my belly, my arms. Building that awareness, bringing it together. And I'll bring this foot down and I'll root in and lift. Now I know some folks might be like, well, should my hip be like this? Should it be like this? All of that. How about we stand up? How about that? You know, all of those higher end elements of balance and attention. Can we start to let go of what we perceive as perfect and feel ourselves holding ourselves, right? So feel that. This is my left leg holding me. What is the story it is telling me about the muscles up here, the muscles down here, the muscles in my feet, where my mind goes when I feel wobbly? Where's our attention? Breathe. And then we'll bring that down. All right. Let's feel the hips. Let's just go side to side. I've got a little crimp here. Got a little crimp here. Do we remember the non-harming? So with that crimp, I backed off a little because it got a little pinchy in my low back. All right. Now, because of that tension here, I'm feeling like I really want to stretch these hips, all right? I've done a lot of wide open things lately. So I'm going to use that wisdom that's saying, so I want to bring the bands of the IT bands in these hips. I'm going to bring them across. So I'm going to do a little crisscross action here. I know, it's in my head now, earworm, right? Crisscross, so make ya. All right, so anyway, y'all still gonna get me. I mean, I haven't been able to be goofy with anybody except my dog. All right, let's root through the feet, lift, feel the hips, and then maybe push that hip. Oh, now I'm really feeling these sides of the hips not having moved as much as I would have liked lately. And I get the side of the body. Now I could just rest here. Well, be okay with a little leaning, because life is just showing us how to go with the flow, right? Ooh. So many might say, oh, what was that really doing? Well, you could call it a modification of eagle, right? I guess I could see it as a modification of that eagle. But I kept both of my feet down, rooted, and I just isolated here and I listened to my back and my hips. I'm going to bring this over to the other side. I feel like standing right now is a really good element for me to feel how I'm holding myself in life. And so standing and feeling myself, and standing not going anywhere, right? I feel like a lot of us have been feeling the need to go, go, go. Remember that balance I spoke about earlier? And so I probably want to find a way of sitting and feeling what's going on. So I'm going to still be standing but not going, and feel all the going that's going on inside of me. Okay. I'm going to feel this hip, this side, lift. So don't let your weight sink down. We want to lift the weight up and off of the body. Just try to help yourself lift the weight of the world off of us. We've been letting us bear down on us. We don't have to. We have choice. And then I'm going to feel my feet, feel my hips. I'm going to thank my body. Maybe just rest that arm. I'm going to feel this whole side. Breathe in. Breathe out. And then I'm going to bring it back up. All right, so I intuitively today was like, okay, that's a little achy and a little stiff. Not really the flow that I'm used to. And moved a little bit on the floor, working our spine, our central nervous system pipeline, okay? Now I'm going to bring in another element. We talked about ahimsa. I'm going to talk a little bit about another term that I say often with my teacher trainees. So I'm a goof, but you guys already know that. But it's called tapas. Oh, you're not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. Tapas. And it isn't delicious Spanish cuisine, but it is delicious Spanish cuisine. But tapas in Sanskrit is discipline, but not in this rigid militaristic discipline. So I like to think of it as devotion and commitment. So can we stick with something? And can we stick with that burning that comes with applying ourselves and letting go? Anybody who's ever had to try to quit smoking, quit any sort of addiction, knows that there is a deep burning inside of us when we have to try to let something go, right? That is hard. I know, Monica, I got the pants on that you gave me. Okay. All right. So let's see if we can work toward a little bit of discipline, applying ourselves to staying in movement. Now, this sometimes in a home practice becomes really one of the things where we're like, oh, I need to look at a video. I need somebody to tell me what to do because I don't know where to go. All right. So I'm going to take us through what's called a really simple sun salute A. And it is from an Ashtanga back, but we're going to do it in a rather gentle way. But if you wanted to look it up in case you're like, oh, I can't remember that, and Belinda doesn't want me to use a video to do my home practice, you can look it up. It's called Ashtanga, Ashtanga. Again, Victoria would be like, bless you. Sun salutation A. Once you've gotten kind of used to doing this, you won't have to memorize. I mean, it'll be stuck in your body. In my Tai Chi practice, we call it muscle memory. All right, so that's where your body just knows where it's going and the brain gets to turn off, which is one of the parts about our yoga practice that we like, where we're not engaged in so much cerebral intellectual space. All right, so I'm going to fire up my engine a little bit and just kind of see if I can clear out some of my energy centers get a little heat going. All right? So we're going to start in child's posture, whatever that feels like for you. And as I said, we're going to do a bit of a modification. We're going to breathe in and come up. And then exhale, lift the hips up. Drop the head down for down dog. Now you can hang out here. You could walk it out. Downward facing dog is so beneficial in so many ways. We get to strengthen the arms and the legs and stretch them. We get to stretch our back and our spine. Really key, can you let the head go and not let the shoulders shrug up, and just feel the bones doing the support that they can. We'll breathe in and we'll bring one knee down, step the other leg up, and then step the back leg up. And then roll the spine up to standing. I know I'm going to be headless for a minute. Breathe in and reach up tall. And then let's take ourselves forward. Those knees could be bent, bowing down. Let this represent you bowing and submitting into something greater than yourself. Breathe in, lift the chest up a little bit, and then we'll bring the hands down, step our way back to hands and knees. Lean your chest forward, and then we're just going to lower down chin and chest. Lay yourself down. Lay on the ground. Breathe in and lift and offer your heart for cobra. Exhale, lower it down. Breathe in and come up. Exhale, down dog if you want, or you could just start to step back up to the top of the mat. Breath in, opposite knee. Step the back leg up. Step that other leg up. We've only got two. Breathe in, breathe out. Most of us have two if we're blessed. And then let's come all the way up to standing. Let's reach. Lengthen from your ribs. Feel that pipeline, that energy of that central nervous system. Exhale, let it go. Breathe in, lift up. And then we'll step back to hands and knees. Send love to everyone in your household. Non-harming thoughts. Exhale, bring it down. Lay it down. Breathe in. Breathe out, child's pose. All right, so we did 2 sun salute A's. Breath. 2 sun salute A's. In your home practice, it could go up to 10. It could go up to 30. When you do 108 sun salutations, which are sometimes practiced during a lot of solstice times, that would end up being 54 of those. So here are some hazards of so many of them, just so that you can feel out what you want to do. You're going to be hinging, and so that low back is really going to take a lot. So that's why a lot of times I'm cueing, let's give a little bit of a break on that back. And you can also cut out some of the forward bends and come down and lay on the belly. Okay? All right. Now we're going to come to some seated spaces. I know that today, because of my technology issues, I was running out of some time. So we'll go for maybe another 20 minutes or so, and hopefully you guys will share some of this practice. Back in the beginnings of Just Be Yoga, I don't know how many of you guys might remember, we had a yogi from Bhutan, and his name was Yogi Naran. He showed us this set that he used to do in his ashram in Bhutan, where we take our fingers and we thread them in between our toes, and we just start to wake up our feet, okay? The lower part of the body, right? These carry the shock of our impact of how we walk in the world, physically, literally, and spiritually, energetically. So let's work the toes back and forth. Notice your breath. Now, I hugely advocate that if you can't set out separate time for your home practice, that you can do itty bitty bits throughout the day, having your elements of asana. yoga postures, elements of your breath practice, elements of your sense withdrawal when you say, you know what, I'm going to turn this stuff off. Okay, a little ankle rotation. So you could do this. You could sit with your kiddos and do this. And this is you connecting in and taking that deliberate time and then rotating the other direction. Bring the mind into the bones in this joint, into the tendons in this joint. And then we'll let that go and really massage the feet. And then Yogi Naran would really love to wake up that stimulation. Wake up the feet. Ooh. It's a nice way to release, maybe a little bit more of some nice aggressive kind of finger point massaging. Wake up the legs. And then we'll do the other side. Pay attention to how you're sitting when you're doing this, okay? And then if you're having knee issues, you could always put a pillow up. You may not be able to bring this ankle all the way up, to the thigh. So, you don't have to be in this half cross-legged position, okay? Don't get fixated on what you're seeing in my body. And then we'll work the toes. And go back and forth with those toes. Maybe ponder, when's the last time you gave your feet this kind of loving attention? Not just to do your toenails, not just to pull out the foot scrub pumice stone, right? That's kind of treating our body like it's hardware. This is a part of us. This is a part of our spirit, right? Our spirit lives in here. Let's give it some love. Some ankle rotations, breathing. And then we'll release and massage this foot. Have a relationship with each toe. Have a relationship in the arch. Ooh, the heels. Are there areas you can feel more of in this foot or less of? How do we bring some awakening, some of that samadhi into our awareness in our feet? And then let's wake that up. Good. I didn't give this one nearly as much love as I gave the other. All right. And then really that percussive waking up of the body. Point and flex, feeling the attachments and the muscles in the shins and the calves. Feeling what are their tensile limits. Woo, tensile limits. And we have definitely been living in our tensile limits in life. So we feel it in our bodies. That's our yoga. Okay, and let's feel the legs holding us up. Feel our spine lifting us up. And hold this Dandasana. I'm going to turn sideways. Dandasana is a upright seated space. Shoulders back. Lifting. Trying not to lean back. Trying not to hunch it forward. Lifting. And breath. How solid can we be and at peace? Where have we been out of sorts in regards to being solid and at peace? If we've been feeling all over the place, sometimes, this is what we might need. A little bit of solidity after some of those sun salutations, kind of get our heat going. Bring in that focus and then sit and hold. What is true? And can I be kind right now? Kinder in my muscles, non-harming, so that I'm not clenching. And then let's take it forward. So I said, if you wanted a strap, you could bring that strap, elbows out to the side. Ask yourself right now, why am I pulling? Am I trying to get somewhere? Or am I practicing some kindness as I fold into myself? Breath in. Breath out. What is the most solid and calm I can be here? All that exists is the next breath. And I can find that peace where I am in my home. I deserve to find that peace where I am in my home. And then let's gradually bring ourselves back upright. All right. I don't know about you, but I usually need some twist, okay? And twisting is great. Working out that superhighway of our energy that I was talking about earlier, about our spinal column, okay? So we've bent it, we've bowed and flexed it. Now let's see about finding the power of the spiral, the power of the coiling that requires release and strength at the same time, a collaboration. That's what twisting does. And that's why it's so strong, right? When we're able to twist. So let's find a way that we can comfortably sit, okay? So if you want to sit, you can sit crisscross applesauce as I'm showing here. And you can feel out where your hips are, where your knees are with that. My shins kind of clash. So my hips want a little bit more space. Some of you might want to find Sukhasana, and that's shin in front of shin. Working on these hips here. Again, these knees may not like that, so you might want to go back to your crisscross applesauce. Others of you might come up toward what's called lotus. I'm going to do a half lotus just for demonstration here. And some people feel as though, oh, that is the ultimate. You know what? Your hips may not like that. Your hips may not be built for it. This doesn't make you a more enlightened yogi based on where you can get these heels up here. This doesn't make me a better yogi. It doesn't say anything about my body. And if I'm trying to get there, when my body is saying no, what was that first lesson I was sharing? Ahimsa, non-harming, kind of would be going against that. Yeah. All right, so let's sit up nice and tall. And then let's find a twist. Now, if your hand doesn't reach the ground, maybe you've got T-Rex arms. Maybe your floor is all jankety and it's all up and down. Who knows? You could have one hand behind you to give yourself support. You all know that when I talk about these blocks and supports, I'm often saying that it's really a huge lesson about will we ask for support and will we lean into it? Will we use it, or do we have a pride point that's going, I don't need that? And then you're like way back here saying, I'm doing it, okay? No, let's feel out, getting our energy aligning upward toward the heavens, rooting down, maybe remembering where we felt out of sorts in the beginning of our practice, why we were coming to the mat in the first place. Breath in. And then exhale, twist. Now, generally on the exhales, the body may give you a little bit more space to move, but it's also a great spot for us to start to practice paying attention to whether we are going for a goal and that it might not be the kindest, nicest thing for us to do, or whether we're being present and accepting, santosha, contentment. That's another limb in the first, another segment of the first two limbs of yoga. Breath in, breath out. My spine just had a few releases on that second exhale. So sometimes we have to wait for it. We have to sit with it. Some of us who are cooks, we know that like the slow cooker is where it's at. So that means the more time we sit with it and let it marinate, that's when it gets juicy. Breathe in and lift. And exhale, release. There's so much power in yield. Definitely my Tai Chi practices have taught me so much about the power in the yin side of things, in the yielding, not in the doing and the forcing. And as I sit here in my body, in my bones and my flesh, I get to feel how I'm wearing forcing and where I could lean into yielding a little bit more. Breath in, breath out. Hear the sound of your breath. And then gently release. All right, we'll get into the hips a little bit. And we're going to take these legs out a little wider. All right, so this one is a little less basic But this is, I'm going to get into a little bit of a beginning of what's called Kurmasana, Kurmanasa, N-A, Kurmasana. And it means turtle, but it's a nice way to get into the hips and also to get into a bit of the backs of the shoulders, okay? So we're not going to take the legs out as wide as they would go. All right, so if you've got to move some stuff out of your way, go ahead and move some stuff out of your way. Then I'm going to bend these knees a bit. And then let's just start here by coming forward and noticing what we feel in our back, in our upper back, letting the neck go. When we get to bow down, we're acknowledging we're not in control. We're turning over that control. We're turning over and surrendering. How often throughout any day are we turning over our will, turning over that action? And notice how it feels energetically to just give yourself permission to do that in your body, even just symbolically in your body, and roll it up. That's why the prostrations, at least in my Buddhist practice, is just so important, to bring the body into that devotion and roll it up. So let's just come forward and back a few times, finding your flow, working the neck, acknowledging it as a part of our spine. And if you've got a dog, a cat right now lying in front of you, you can have so much loving snuggles. Even our babies and our bigger babies, if they still want love and snuggles. I really never believe that we should shoo away our family members and our loved ones from our practice. Invite them to join you. Some of you guys know the story of me walking by my mom doing yoga, walking by her bedroom door, and she was upside down in a shoulder stand. And I was like, what? Grown-up people don't get upside down? And I said, what are you doing? And she said, come join me. And she didn't say, go away, right? And this was in the early 70s. And so I came, I did it for maybe a couple of breaths, and then I was like, meh, and I went on about my day. But I wasn't shooed away. It wasn't something that it was prevented or told me that it wasn't for me. It was inclusive, and it was lovely. So I popped in whenever she let me, and she always let me. All right, so here's where it's going to be a little bit less than basic, okay? So why don't we just start with one and see if we can slide one arm under that knee. And then just let the head go. And then notice what you're feeling in the back of the arm, back of the neck. Breath. Some of you may be able to slide all the way down. There's no goal. And please pay attention to your ahimsa, your non-harming now. Feel your breath way deep down into your hips. And then we'll, bring that up. Feels so good. Got my clothes all disheveled, but who cares? I live here. I'm not here for anyone else. All right, we're going to get here out one more time. We're going to slide this arm under. Now see if you can get that knee joint above the elbow joint. You don't want any pressure down on the elbow joint. Now this side I'm not going as low. That shoulder's not as happy. But I'm just going to let the upper body down. Don't smash the legs onto the arm. And then breathe and observe and feel. Feel your body supporting you as life puts you in weird shapes you never thought you would ever be in. Can we be steady? Can we be at ease? Have you really let go? Have you really surrendered? And it's quite all right to start to get into these spaces and feel something. right? I got a little verklempt right there. And slowly come up. Because when we truly start to let ourselves feel ourselves letting go, that vulnerability, letting go of whatever we've been holding on to so that we're holding it together for others, we're not really letting ourselves feel it, and we're not releasing it. And we are energetic beings, and we need to let things flow through us. Otherwise, it gets into that traffic jam, and it creates a dysregulation, because we're a system that's based on a connection to the root and to the heavens, and it's a flow, it's an exchange, right? We don't stockpile it, we don't hoard it, we got to freely give it away. And that means we got to feel it, and we've got to acknowledge it. And so you're going to feel stuff. You're going to feel sadness. You're gonna feel fear, and you're going to notice where it's residing in your body. And I can have that little verklempt choke in my throat, or maybe a full-on boo-hoo. And how beautiful is that to be able to do that at home? Okay, so a quick little review here. I'm going to meet with you guys every day, 10:30, and then this is going to be posted up here live, okay? Today we went over some of the things you want to grab and get. Maybe a mat, maybe not. It could be a towel, it could be a rug, it could be your favorite blankie. It's your house. A book or a blog. You don't have to go buy a yoga blog, but if you want to go get a cool one, you might have to use Facebook Marketplace. I don't know that yoga shops are deemed essential right now. A strap, maybe you use a necktie or a belt, okay, as a strap. Ahimsa, non-harming. Let's carry that in our actions, our words, and our intentions, in how we move on our mat and how we carry that off of the mat. Maybe start to observe when we're not being so nice to ourselves. Maybe think about the unkind words that we even thought about others. And that's energy, and it's going to get stuck in us. And then tapas. That was the only other term in the first two limbs that are brought up, and that's about discipline and devotion. And how are we applying that in our day to bow down and bear in? Okay, so what are we letting go of and giving up on? And we could actually, we could probably stick it through a little bit longer. Maybe we're telling ourselves that we can't right now, when in actuality, look at this moment, we're still breathing, we're still living. Yes, we can. We have more strength than we know. And all of our strength is not in the doing. Our strength is also shown in the letting go and softening in. It's been my deepest honor and pleasure to share my practice with you, and hopefully for you guys to share your practice with me at some point soon. Let's close together with our hands and a mudra. Mudras are yoga postures for the hands. And in this one, we're holding our heart in our hands. Bring an intention to mind, an intention that you want for yourself or for others. So that every time you bring your heart, your hands to your heart, when you leave your mat today, you'll remember that intention. All that is love and light and joy in me recognizes that very same space of love, light, and joy in you. When you're in that space in you and I'm in that space in me, we are one. Please let us remember that we are one. Check in on one another. Love one another. Namaste. Tomorrow's broadcast is going to actually be at 11 o'clock instead of 10:30. I will be doing some trauma yoga with some CMH therapists. So let's send out some support to all of our first responders. And so I'll be with them, but I'll be joining you guys around 11 o'clock. It has been a joy to see everyone's names up there. Good to see you, Linda. Good to see you, Betty. Hey, Burning Desire. Love it. Love it. And Sarah and Joel. You all are the most amazing community. Thank you. I'm deeply honored. Namaste.